ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about comic books, costumes, facts, boots, and other stuff. In this week's issue,
just imagine Stan Lee's Batman. Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the shadow who lurks in the night,
Ooh.
Mr. Mike.
Shadow who lurks in the night. Wow.
But so don't worry, you don't have to call
two ways.
You don't have to call the cops. It's just Mike.
It's just me, guys.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll see myself out.
Just tap, tap, tap. What's the other one? It's
I just patting him on the head. You just go back to sleep. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. What we are here, Bros, Hoes, and Heroes, we are a comic book podcast where each week I, Zach, present Mike, the guy who lurks in the shadows, with a comic book character or storyline or some historic event. At some point in time, like Father's Day is coming up, we're just going to have an episode where we talk about bad dads because, that's fun. Yeah, and I thought about just making it easier for Mike because Mike just really likes to know the high points of stuff. But just have an episode where we're like, hey, this is like the biggest things that have happened to this character. So you just know.
I like that.
We kind of dove into something that Mike hates a couple weeks ago, and that was Green Lantern when we covered Guy Gardner, who we got to see a little bit of a bigger glimpse of in the new Superman trailer.
I got to tell you, with both Nathan Fillion and Coach, maybe they'll bring me around because I'm starting to. Yeah,
and
starting to get there.
Especially if you want to go back and listen to our Guy Gardner episode.
Garters for guys.
But yeah, it seems like Nathan Fillion is going to be able to play the character just like the filthy scumbag that we covered him as.
Well, and he's
is gonna be nice.
He's also obviously in Peacemaker, which that does not hurt at all.
No, that's great too.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, go check out the trailers for both of those. They're both fantastic. Excited for both of those. But what we have today, Mike, is I'm going to give you a little bit of history here because you might be questioned when I present it to you. I guess let me stop stalling. Let me get into this. So you know Stan Lee, right?
I do.
That's a name in comics, right?
Sure.
And I'm going to make sure I have my air quotes. He created most of the Marvel universe.
I thought you were doing air quotes over the word he.
No, over created.
What do you know about
Because
Stan?
he'll tell you he's very much like, here's the thing. There's a type of person that I have a problem with usually.
Yeah.
It's a Hulk Hogan. It's all of this. But Stan Lee is one of them that takes liberties of how much he created with stuff.
Sure.
Anyway, so that's what I did. Created. Not saying that he didn't have a hand in it. I fully believe in the Silver Surfer Parable episode we covered last week, he wrote a lot of that dialogue. It is very grandiose.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
So I know that he added stuff. I'm just saying when it comes to the creative process, I stumbled upon an old interview that one, like the Comics Journal did with the Kirbys. And I say the Kirbys because it's not just Jack. His wife Roz
it's
is there too.
also the pink guy that blows up when he eats people.
From Nintendo. No, but his wife Roz is there too. And in the middle of the interview.
What a great name.
Oh, yeah. I think Rosalind was a fool. But in the middle of the interview, while they're talking about like Stan's being able to create stuff since Jack hasn't been there, Roz herself comes up and goes, "What has he created since Jack left?" Like, honestly. And it's just like, damn, like even when the wife's like calling him out in the middle of the interview.
Man. Yeah, that's rough.
But we're not sitting here to argue over that. That's not the point. I know Stan had a hand in that. The reason I'm saying though is know Stan Lee as a guy who had his hand in creating a lot of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, sure.
At least figurehead for it. He is synonymous with it.
Well, and there is a little bit of respect that goes with that because you ride or die with it. You know what I mean? So there were a lot of characters in there that sucked and stuff they stopped doing, you know? Well, I think about like Rom. I know I've brought that up several times, but Rom was a toy that turned into a comic book and then went nowhere. And so, you know, things like that are going to happen just because of the sheer magnitude of stuff they were trying to put out.
For sure. But my thing is just like he's synonymous with the company. So what if I told you that there was a time that he worked for DC Comics? And this wasn't something like early on before he started working for his uncle. Because I'm pretty sure his uncle. Let's not forget that Martin Goodman, it's kind of nepotism that got Stan Lee the job at Marvel in the first place. Because Martin Goodman, the owner of the the publication house.
Also the host of Family Double Dare.
Worked with them. Exactly. But I feel like I'm shitting really hard on Stan, and I don't mean to. I'm just explaining things and little things pop up. Anyway,
I think he'll get
it's
over
not before it. This comes after in the early 2000s, actually like 2000.
Really?
When Marvel files for bankruptcy. They find out that not only is one sect of Marvel paying him, but he's getting paid at another part too. He's kind of double dipping and getting paid $1 million here and $1 million there to be like the spokesman. And so I think it's Ike Perlmutter is the owner or who's running Marvel at the time.
Is that the story? Is that story in one of those books we've talked about?
Yeah,
before?
it is. I think we've covered it before. But it absolutely is. That's how I know this. Yeah.
Is that in which one's it in?
It's either it might be in both of them. It might be in both. Reed Tucker's Slugfest, who we interviewed.
That's
Reed
what I
Tucker.
was trying to think of was Slugfest.
And then it's also the not Douglas Wolk is all the Marvels. It's the other one. It's the Sean Howe book that is about the untold history of Marvel. I think it's in both of those.
Slugfest is one that I've been meaning to. Let's not kid anybody. I'm not going to read it.
Listen to it. No, the audiobook's good too.
But I will listen to it. Yeah.
I mean, and we had the author on the show.
Yeah,
it's the
absolutely.
only it's the only guest that we've had on the podcast in 4 years.
It's true.
But still,
it's true.
And so he's let go at Marvel there in the early 2000s. Like this is when I think he does Stripperella. Remember for like Spike TV and all that. It's because he wasn't working with Marvel at the time. But DC basically kind of like jumps at the chance to hire him to do some stuff. Yeah. And what they come up with. It's one of those
industries that you try to dig up people.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking as someone who kind of, thinks that same way, as soon as you see somebody has either been screwed around by a place or maybe let go from a place because it's easier to do it with a cartridge or whatever, that's I can see why they would want him.
Exactly. But what, and I can tell you the
but there
Genesis,
is no Marvel without Stan Lee, honestly.
Exactly.
There's just not. You just can't. And there's no Stan Lee without Marvel, honestly.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah. Exactly. I'll agree with you there. But what led to, I'll tell you the genesis of this. So what DC does is they bring him in, and this turns into like a 13-issue series. Mm-hmm. And what it is it's called Just Imagine.
Okay.
And it's like if Stan Lee created your favorite DC superheroes.
So this is a what if for Stan Lee.
It's a what if for Stan Lee with all your DC characters.
Yeah.
So just imagine if Stan Lee created Batman or created Superman.
I like both of those things.
Or
now,
all
they may
of
have turned out horrible, but I like the idea of that.
Well, that's what we're getting into. We're going to cover the first one today, Mike.
Yay.
Which is just imagine Stan Lee's Batman. Now, the one thing that they did that was really genius of this, especially the time that I love, is that each story has a different big name artist too. They didn't skimp.
Yeah.
So like it's Joe Kubert does the art for Batman here.
Even I know that name.
You don't?
No, I said even I know that name.
Okay, yeah. But I mean,
not crazy about that bat face in the back, but yeah.
Well, just wait. John Buscema comes back and does art. Jim Lee does art. Dave Gibbons, who did Watchmen. Like it's a bunch of big names that do art on some of these too. And so it's a big whole deal. They're going to have him kind of give his origins. This is the genesis back. It dates all the way back to like in 1989. Stan Lee is at, funny enough, the Batman movie premiere, the Michael Keaton premiere, when everybody's favorite, Bob Kane, who we've talked about here lately, and Stan Lee, and it's funny, both I think kind of on the same coin a bit, I think Stan did a lot more than Bob ever did. But
I agree. Bob also signed off on some stuff by not even being there.
That's true.
He reminds me of like a senator or something who doesn't go to vote.
Very much so. But they get into the argument kind of like, oh, I could have done so much with Spider-Man. I could have done so much with Batman. And so it just kind of led the idea, and that's what started the first one. And then they cover Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Justice League, Robin gets one, Shazam, Catwoman. Mike, before we get any further, though,
I think I've almost made the move to hate Robin more than I hate the Green Lantern.
Really?
How's that?
Is Robin now your
just an idiot.
Your most hated person?
He's just an idiot. Yeah, I don't see any need for Robin.
Okay.
I just
well,
don't.
then it's funny that you say that, because I was going to tell you I told you that I was going to have you cover something for my birthday.
Yeah.
You're going to cover Stan Lee's Aquaman.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I bet that is a train wreck.
Here's the thing. I didn't read it because I don't want to be spoiled. All I know is essentially how he becomes Aquaman. All I'm going to say is scientist, dolphin DNA.
So he becomes Aquaman. He's not like born into the lineage or anything like that. He just
his Green Lantern is essentially Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
So I have no clue where we're going with Aquaman. But
that's great.
So next month in June, you can expect Mike to cover Stan Lee's Aquaman for us.
Love it.
But let's dive into Batman. Are you hoping for something good here, Mike? Because if you're hoping for that,
no, I'm not really. I understand that this is going to be way over the top.
It is
stupid, but that's great.
It is, and it's
and kudos to you. I have never seen this before.
It's from 2000, 2001.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you would think at least it would have made it into the general zeitgeist.
I'm going to still. Oh, never mind. This isn't the show that we usually make jokes like this, so I don't know if I'm going to do this.
What?
I'll say I was going to steal a joke. I saw somebody post. This came out in September of 2001.
Oh God!
And it's this, and they said the second worst thing that happened to America that month. So, but we don't make jokes like that on here.
Yeah.
So,
no, we didn't make that joke. Somebody else did.
I told you, and I just
go get them.
Anyway, so here we go. Let's dive into Stan.
It was your local assemblyman who said
just
that.
Imagine Stan Lee with Joe Kubert creating Batman.
Yeah.
Also with Slavković. I apologize there.
Slavković. Yeah, it's Slavković. There's no doubt about it.
We also get, when you open it up, like there's a letter in there from Stan about
and he says true believers too.
He does, and he signs it Excelsior. Like it's all Stan being Stan. But we're introduced to. You want to guess what is a very Stanley thing to do? Obviously, we have our main character. One thing that you can almost guarantee is they're going to have an alliterative name.
Sure.
So let me introduce you to the young man standing there with the woman in the umbrella. It's two people standing out in the rain at like a funeral. And we are introduced to Wayne Williams. Mm-mm. We have to get Wayne in there because Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. But his last name is Williams.
His last name is Williams.
Why wouldn't it be William Wayne?
So Wayne Williams is there with his mother, and we find out that they're at his father's funeral. His father is a cop who was gunned down.
Somebody had to bring that up, right? At some point. They were like, listen, Stan, we love you, man, but come on, his last name is Wayne. Yeah. Why are you throwing it in the front?
And he's like, no, if I would have done it, I would have put Wayne first.
That would have been a big sticking point of mine. Excelsior! And then he just poofs out of the room.
I just have in my head, he just like knocks over a pile of books and runs away. Distracting people.
He's got like a little impish run.
So his dad is a police officer who was gunned down. We don't know why. And they're leaving.
Were there pearls involved?
No, we don't. That's the thing.
Okay.
So you were expecting both of his parents to die because you already expect Wayne Williams to be Batman, and you would be correct. But so as they're leaving the funeral, like they walk by this alley where this guy's getting beaten up for not having money to pay his protection.
That's old Fight Alley. That's the problem. Stay away from Fight Alley.
Probably Crime Alley. Yeah. And his mom goes, "Oh, you guys should stop." Wayne's mom goes, "You guys should stop beating up on him." And our big bad guy is a guy by the name of Hans.
Hans
with a Z.
Oh, with a Z. He's streetwise.
He is Hans Horgum. HORG.
Excuse me. God bless you. What? I don't. Huh? Hans Horgum.
Horgum is his name because any good street boss I've ever known has the last name Horgum. Sounds like you're something you feed to pigs.
It does.
So the mom tries to intervene and almost gets beaten up, and Wayne's just like, no, we didn't mean anything. We know he probably deserved it, and then they go and leave. So That's what she steps up.
I probably deserved it, William Wayne. Come on.
She goes, stop hurting him. And Wayne goes, come on, Ma, we got to go. It ain't our fight. The guy probably deserved what he was getting.
There you go.
Yeah, he's saying that he thinks in his mind to protect
This is the guy who becomes Batman?
This is, wait, I'll tell you how he becomes Batman.
All right. Okay.
Well, then.
He's like, screw that guy. Let's go.
Yeah, we see him working at this little mini mart that he works at. That's his job.
I already have so many problems with this because he has no money. Well, that is Batman's thing. He's got unlimited resources.
Okay, you gotta let the story develop.
Okay.
We're like 5 pages in, Mike.
I know. I have problems already.
Are you at a Batman movie and after 3 minutes you're yelling at the screen like, "Where are his gadgets?"
Yeah, probably.
Let it breathe a bit.
Probably. Yeah.
Let it breathe. This is like 50.
Where's Batman's fanny pack?
This is 50 pages of something
of quality entertainment.
Here's the thing. I gave you 50 pages of quality last week with Mobius.
I can say this. The speech bubble boxes line up really well. So if I was complimenting this thing so far, it would be that. The art is great. The art is great.
No, Joe Kubert's art is awesome.
The rain was kick ass. That was nice.
So, but he's working. Wayne is working at his job as a stock boy here at the grocery store. He
famously pays a ton.
So much.
Yeah.
His boss really hates him. Like he tells him, "Move it, Williams. I pay you to stack those cans, not play with them."
His boss looks like a guy from any '80s teen comedy.
Can I tell you a weird? No, I'm not going to tell you that story. There's not the time. No, we'll tell it because I don't know where else to tell it. I had a job once.
I was in Reno one time. Couldn't find my pants.
I had a job once as a teen at a fast food place.
Okay.
It served chicken.
Which one and what's the address?
Nope, not going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that because I'll tell you. Well, no.
I know which one it is.
So I remember we had a manager that
it was like the only one in your town, basically. That was like the only fast food place.
No, there's multiple ones now.
Yeah, I'm saying when you were growing up.
When I was growing up, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just remember, and it sticks with me. We had a manager he would like to play poke fun with us back and forth, and play pick fights and stuff.
It's a dangerous game.
Just like this guy, where he's like, I pay you to stack those cans, not play with them. But so he would play kind of not bow up, but he's like, oh. I'd whip all your guys' asses, stuff like that. He would just make jokes.
That's the second most dangerous game. You know what the first most dangerous game is?
Hunting people.
You got it.
Yeah. Marlon Brando was involved.
Only took one.
So, but I still remember for some reason a coworker of mine and him, and he was he tells him because he's a good 50 years older than us.
Sure.
And we're 18 at the time, so he's 68. And he tells me, he goes, I'm going to just use a name. And he's like, Greg, I'm telling you, if you really wanted to fight, he's like, if you really wanted to fight, it wouldn't be a thing. And Greg, without missing a beat, goes, nah, you don't know how to beat up to. I'd bite your balls. You wouldn't see it coming.
That's great. I love that.
And so I don't know why.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But seeing him sit there and he's like, move it, Williams, stack those cans, not play with them. It just reminds me of the manager that I once had who told a coworker that we got into a fight with him and he was losing. He'd bite his balls. So
I'll tell you this, crowd.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a good fighter as long as you're willing to play dirty.
Was that another one of your quotes?
That's the one that'll be in my epitaph. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that somebody will have to read.
There's that one. Oh, so that's not from your friend?
No.
That's one you committed?
No. Yeah, you just want me to say it again is what it is.
No, I don't.
I am developing powerful muscles that enable me to sit for 7 full hours without tiring.
I was just asking. I didn't know if that was
too many chefs in the kitchen make the people round.
Which is accurate.
That was another one.
That's accurate because I'm assuming they're making a lot of food.
Those are the only ones I could remember.
Back to Stan Lee's Batman.
I do remember his typewriter collection though.
So,
his mom was a weirdo.
Wayne notices that Hans
Hogarth.
Yeah, that big bad street guy.
Yeah.
Is walking with this little fly lady. Who he has an eye for, and he's kind of daydreaming about, oh man, a guy like Hans, he wouldn't work in a place like this. And he gets all the pretty ladies like that too, he has it all kind of thing.
Oh, sure.
And about that time, Hans goes, "Huh, do you hear that? I hear a car, it's gunning its engine." And then he goes, "And it's it's heading towards us."
Oh.
And there's a drive-by.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Hans jumps out of the way, and nobody's protecting the woman. So Wayne runs outside and dives.
Oh, you mean Wayne Williams?
Wayne Williams,
sure.
Sorry. Runs outside and dives to kind of tackle the woman to the ground to save her, to protect her.
Good move.
Hans comes up and he's like, "Hey,
why does he wear those gloves?"
I don't, because he's.
Did we find out?
He's Hands.
Or is it? That's it. That's the whole thing.
Well, we figure out why he's named Hands.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know why the gloves.
Okay, I'll wait it out.
And he's like, "You don't touch my girl." And he's like, "I was just trying to like help her." And he's like, "Get lost."
Backhanded.
Hey, backhands her. And he's like, "Oh," he goes,
not her.
Sorry,
him.
He does. Backhands Wayne Williams. You're
Yeah.
right. Sorry, excuse I misspeak sometimes.
I just didn't want anybody thinking we're out
Fair
there
enough.
glorifying some beating thing.
No. And he tells him like to get lost kind of, and he's like, if you don't, like, you'll get what your father got kind of. Just tell him, not that it was him who did it, but like, you're gonna.
It does make you kind of think though.
And he smacks him.
Yeah.
And then he like tries to punch, like Wayne goes to try to punch Hands, and Hands catches like his fist in both of his hands. And he starts to squeeze on Wayne's fist, and Wayne just kind of like curls down in like pain. He's like, my fingers. He's like breaking his hands just by squeezing them on the outside. So I'm assuming Hands has very tough hands.
Okay.
I just noticed this. I didn't catch it on the back of his jacket.
Hands
it says
and feet.
Hands, no feet.
Oh, it says hands, no feet?
I wonder if it says all hands, no feet.
Oh, it could be all hands, no feet.
Which I had a girlfriend once.
Yeah, I get that.
So, never mind.
What the F does
I thought that was
going to
be funny, but that's
what does it even mean, though?
No, well, it's with a Z, so it's like all him, no. Maybe here's the thing. Maybe the other Ravel gang is a dude that's like Clarence Feet. And so it's like all hands, no
They're fighting
feet.
against those people with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, the Foot.
Foot Clan.
Yeah, the Foot.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, so there's a skirmish. The girl ends up knocking Hands. No, it just says Hands,
It
no
just
feet.
says hands, no feet, which
Okay.
is stupid.
Nita is her name, or Nina, eventually talks Hands to like letting Wayne go, and he does. And Wayne's just like, he's like, he could have crushed my fingers.
How do I stock with these?
And he's like, Dad's gone. I've been threatened by Hands. Things can't get worse. And then our
they can.
Our narration bubble goes, the next day proves that Wayne is a bad prophet.
Oh, okay.
And so this group of people with ski mask or pantyhose pulled over their head come in, and Wayne realizes that the voice sounds familiar to him.
Yeah.
And they pull a gun on his boss, and they keep saying like, hey, yeah, this is the guy that Wayne was telling us to take or about.
Pantyhose, what a terrible idea for a
It is.
disguise. It's just a terrible idea.
But they tell him to freeze, and the guys point the gun at Wayne's boss, and they tell him like, we got here as soon as we could, Wayne. Yeah, thanks for the tip, man. And they're making it sound like he was the one who called them to be there. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then their manager's like, he goes, you slimy fink, you set me up.
Think.
Yeah, it's a Stan thing.
Here's what I don't understand out of this little stir up here is who are they leaving to tell this story?
So
Nobody.
And so like Wayne realizes that the voice kind of sounds familiar, and he's trying to piece together who it is. And the bad guys are the group here with the guns is making it sound like Wayne sent them, or like his, like their inside man.
That's my question though. Like, why?
And so they sit there and they knock him out though too. After they shoot the store owner, and then they knock him out, and they put the gun in Wayne's hand. And so the cops.
So they
show
didn't
up.
kill him.
Well, we find out that he was just hitting the shoulder.
Okay.
But
that makes more sense then, because I was like, if they kill this guy and they knock Wayne out, then why are they even telling this story? Who cares?
Exactly. And so while they're there, though, that's when the owner's like, the Williams kid was one of them. He's like, the ungrateful punk, I gave him a job. They must have been fighting over the money after I got shot, because he's like, he got shot and passed out.
How much do you think that little place makes?
Not much.
It can't be much,
Not
right?
much.
It can't be much.
And he's like, that's how he got knocked
There's
out.
two people that work there, and one of them owns it.
Yeah. But he tells them that's how he got knocked out, them fighting over the money.
Yeah.
So they sentence him to jail. Wayne goes to jail. And there he's telling his mom, like, I swear, Mom, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Well, while he's in jail, he works with a sewing machine. I don't know why he works with a sewing machine. It's never told to us like he was assigned to work with it. He just works with a sewing machine. That'll come in at some point later. Also,
I bet when he makes his costume.
Also, when he looks out the window of his jail cell, he sees bats fly by the moon.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of bats.
And he leaves crumbs there, and one of the bats comes and eats crumbs that he's left for him. And this becomes a...
I get the fact that jails have bars like that, but they're not often just open to the world.
Well, this one it is.
What happens when it rains?
Your
just
cell
get
gets wet. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It says like weeks turn into months, but the routine never varies. So Wayne, this months now. For months, Wayne leaves crumbs of food, and he has a pet bat as they fly by that comes and visits him at night. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
And he tells him, "You're my only friend that I have." So he's made friends with the bat. Okay?
This would not have taken off like the actual Batman.
No, I'm telling you, this would have been just as good as the real Batman. So we go back to see Hans, and he's sitting there,
no
and
feet.
all hands, no feet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's living it up. But Nina just reminds him, he goes, what's the sad face, Nina? Like, why you're sad? And she goes, "I just can't forget about that poor boy you framed months ago."
Several months ago.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good for him. He hadn't framed anybody since, I guess.
Maybe we should be talking about that. Maybe we should be talking about how Hans is on the up and up now, and he hasn't framed anybody. Like, good for Hans. But I just love how she's just out of the blue today, just sad about it. Just like, you remember
think
that
he wears
guy you
prosthetics on his feet, or do you think he just shoves those boots right on his nubs?
Hear me out.
Yeah.
He's called Hands. We think it's because he has strong hands. He has 4 hands.
Oh, he has hands for feet.
He has hands for feet.
I get it. Yeah, okay. Like a chimp.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. I love it.
That's what we're going with.
Hands the chimp.
Hands the chimp, mob boss. Hans Horgrim. But he tells, when Nina says she's upset about it, he tells her, like every great boyfriend.
He had to say these things back to himself in his brain as he's doing these, right? Like, everybody has a little bit of an internal editor, But when you say Hans Horgrim, his mind went, "Yep, that's it. That's the one." Well, the one that everybody hates? Yep, that's got to be it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, let's not forget, it was Peter Parker and Peter Palmer in the same issue.
Yeah.
So, like, even back then, he couldn't keep the names.
That's true.
So he just probably remembers I call him Hands.
That man was all feet.
We're back to the prison where there's these big buff prison guys.
God, there's no shirts in prison.
No, they ran out of shirts, especially if you're lifting weights, you can't wear one.
They ran out of shirts.
But where am I at? Corgo.
You're in prison.
Yeah, they are. No, but Corgo is the really big.
Corgo.
Corgo, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
He's the one like doing dumbbell presses.
He's the big bald. He's the big skinhead looking effer.
And he's picking on stuff, and he's like, "Man, I'm getting bored with this." And he grabs an old man. He's like, "Come here, old man." And he decides to lift the old man instead. And Wayne decides to stick up, and he's like, "Hey, leave the old guy alone." And he's like, "Hey, he wasn't bothering you." And Corgo goes, "Yeah, you're right, he wasn't, but now you are." And so he beats up Wayne, throws him kind of into the wall, and then they leave. And the old guy goes and tells him, like, "You shouldn't have interfered, but, like, thank you for doing so."
Sure.
And they kind of make friends as
Love
they're...
the fact that he's got just a little soul patch there.
Yeah, as they're walking back to their cells. This is very much like Red and Andy from... what's the movie? I just give the characters Shawshank Redemption. And they're walking back, and the dude lets them know that he was like a former scientist, and he asks him, like, where was it at there? He tells him where I'm trying to find. Oh, you're young, you're healthy, you've got good potential, no need to be a victim. It's too late for me, but those barbells, use them. Like, build yourself up. There's a library here. Like, use it to develop your mind. Like, don't let your time here go to waste. Like, you can create something of yourself here in prison. And then he realizes, Wayne does, "Oh, we're cellmates. Didn't know that." And he finds out the old man's named Frederick Grant. And we find that Frederick Grant, it'll tell us here later, was a scientist of some sort, like an innovator or an inventor. And he's in prison because he worked for a company that was like dumping like illegal chemicals into like the water supply, and he kept reporting it and nothing would happen. So he sabotaged the machinery to stop it, and he got caught doing it. So they sentenced him to jail for that.
Okay, so I'm going to make a leap here.
Yeah.
That's what's going to turn this guy into Batman. It's going to give him super strength or something.
Is the chemicals?
The chemical.
No.
Okay.
So then
I was going to say, if that happens, then there's a bunch of Batmans out there.
We all drink bat
Well, that's
chemicals.
what I'm saying. Anybody who got near it, they're just all of a sudden got superpowers.
The next day in the yard, some of the other like inmates are like, "Hey, we think it's cool that you stood up to Corgo," and they kind of help him lift weights and build strength. And so he starts working out. I do love it says because it talks about how he worked on this and he worked on that. Like, no prisoner was filled with a burning desire for vengeance as Wayne Williams. No prisoner gained muscle mass faster. Or, it's just going through this whole montage kind of thing. And it says it actually took Wayne many months to become a powerhouse. But since we've got a lot more story to tell, we'll take a liberty license and cut the sequence short.
Well, that is the most Stanley thing to ever say right there.
Oh, man. So...
exposition, we don't need it. We got true believers.
Here's what's funny is I want to remember this, how much time we spend on certain aspects of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, or at least I have that thought after finishing this. We find out that he's reading more, that he's still friends with a bat.
Somebody ripped his pants off down at the ankles, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
Those don't look like socks.
Well, he wants to look sexy while he works out. We're introduced to also, while all this is going on, we found out, after the montage of him working out, he finds out a week later, you ready for this?
Yeah.
She's dead. My mom's dead because there was no one to take care of her. She died before I could prove I was innocent now.
She died because there was nobody there?
I'll never have a chance to make it up to her. None of this would have happened if not for Hands. Hands, he'll pay for this. I swear it on my mom. So now both his parents are dead. Stan got around to having both parents dead still. Just had to give him some time. We also get these weird cut-ins of this other.
Wait for you to say the name of this guy.
Of this other arcing story that ties in with all the other issues. So he might pop up in your Aquaman story.
Does?
Yeah. There's a big bad. The Justice League fights this guy.
Okay.
So while he's riding, they have an interconnected bat.
The actual Justice League or Stan Lee's Justice League?
Stan Lee's Justice League.
Okay. All right. That's different. Yeah.
But we get a church, an outside picture of this Church of Eternal Empowerment with Reverend Dominic Dark.
2 R's, by the way.
2 R's for Dark.
Hello, I'm Dominic Dark.
And he talks about how their church must grow. I don't know why I did that. Cardi B's a member. And he talks about how they must bring the blessings of eternal empowerment to all mankind.
Yeah.
He set forth.
But that has zero to do with our story at the moment.
It's about to.
Oh, okay.
He's like, the slightest wish is your command. Prepare you then to receive the new disciples. It's all this cult stuff. And it says, at that instant, words are whispered in a trance-like state. And it goes to the prison, and the guard's like, it is time. The master must be obeyed. And he types something in the computer, and all the doors.
The computer that's off.
The computer that is off. There's one on the screen.
Yeah.
And all the cell doors of the prison clink open, and they're all going to escape and get out of there. And Wayne's like,
I'm just saying it wouldn't be super hard to put something on that screen.
No one. And Wayne, just some squiggles. Yeah. And Wayne Williams is like, guys, there's no way you are getting by the guards. Just let's stay in our cells.
Sure.
But they go to the warden's office, or Korg or whatever that big meathead was from earlier who beat up the old guy.
Craig Cord
is gonna attack the warden if he doesn't get him out of there. And the warden's like, I can't do anything. Power's off. I can't get us out of here. So he's gonna go and kill the warden essentially. And Wayne steps in and defeats Korg, or the meathead dude, and his men, and stops the riot from happening. He prevents the prisoners from breaking out.
Just jumps around and kicks them?
Yeah, he just jumps around and kicks them and fights them.
Okay.
And then I love at the end, I don't know why this made me funny, the big guy, the big meathead prisoner is like, what? Why did you do it? Why'd you stop our escape? And then it has a cut-in of him thinking, and he goes, you'll never know. And it's him thinking about him and his mom at his dad's funeral at the very beginning for no reason.
Yeesh.
We cut back and we see Hands again, and Nina still doesn't want to marry Hands. I don't know if we talked about that being a thing, but he wanted her to marry him.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Still doesn't want to, but they see in the paper, Hands brings it up this time, and he goes, hey, remember that wimp Wayne Williams? That wimp that you're really into? That wimp? They keep saying that a lot. Mm-hmm. He's in the paper. He's getting out for the slammer. Got himself a pardon. And his men are kind of worried. They're like, hey, he's the only guy who would know that, we set up that job kind of there. And Hands isn't worried. He's like, nah, we're going to find him. We're going to finish him. I'm not worried about it. Well, Wayne gets out of jail, right? And because he gets pardoned for stopping the prison riot. I lost my headphones. Anyway, I don't know.
Zach will be back after this extended message.
Mike?
Huh?
But you can get pardoned from just stopping a prison riot.
Well, that's what I've heard. If you're lucky enough to be the guy who stopped it and you're lucky enough to live past it, they'll just open the door right up for you.
Yep. So he gets out and he
But
goes,
hang on. If he stopped that prison riot, I'm looking the wrong way. Hang on. If he stopped that prison riot,
no, I am looking the right way.
the doors were just open.
Yeah, they could have left.
Okay.
But he stopped him from leaving.
Okay.
Because he's a good dude.
Okay. All right, sure.
Okay, so.
I guess I'm satiated. I don't know.
You guess. That's good now. So Wayne finds a hotel to stay in, and he takes his pet bat friend with him. I guess to let him keep him in jail.
You know what? It's better than Robin.
It is.
He's got a pet bat.
But so he takes the bat with him, and he's like talking to him, and he's like, so you and me are going to play low. Like he's talking to him about his plan of how he's going to get hands now.
And then the bat says, I agree, Wayne. Let's go.
Well, so Wayne decides, I'm going to make it harder for them to find me. They know what I look like. I'm going to shave my head.
Oh, come on.
And shave my beard into a mustache. So now he looks different.
That's the only thing he did?
I mean, right now. Here's the thing why it's not going to matter one bit, though. He does that, right? And he goes, that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part. Like, how am I going to earn money? I'm not going to worry about that. Let me flip on this TV. What? Oh, it works. Wrestling. Oh, this is phony.
Wrestling.
I could make a better costume in my sleep. But the fans, they eat it up.
Here we go.
Gotta admit, they're fun to watch. As corny as they are, they sure put on a great show. And according to the... This made me chuckle. And according to the announcer, most of them make a pile of dough. That is nothing that has never, ever happened in professional wrestling unless you are obviously top notch.
Yeah, the guy with the squid on his head is probably not the guy who's making the top dollars.
He's not banking millions of dollars. But so then he goes, oh, Eureka! That's the answer. I'm going to go be a professional wrestler. Well, first, before I do that.
This is a story that all of America knows and loves about Batman. Right here. Oh, my God. Come on.
First, before I do that, an hour, here's what he goes. There's my answer staring me right in the face. All I got to do is buy some fabric. So he's going to be a professional wrestler is what he's decided to do.
And that's how it works. You just walk into a professional wrestling league and say, I'm here now.
Well, an hour later, or maybe 55 minutes, we wanted to speed up time earlier, but now we want to make the joke that it might be 55 minutes because it goes an hour later or maybe 55 minutes. Why split hairs? Well, we can't do it both ways, bud. And he's like, man, I'm glad I learned how to do this in the joint. So that is why the sewing machine paid off, just for him to make his costume. That is it. He shows up at the gym that has a sign underneath it that just says professional wrestling because all gyms have signs that say professional wrestling. And they walk in and he goes, hey, you got yourself a new professional wrestler.
He walks in carrying a pumpkin.
And they're all like, wait, who? And he goes, you can call me Batman. So Batman walks in there. And the guy's like, all right, fine. We'll see how long you can last with Steamroller here. I'll give you 10 seconds. And Batman clobbers.
First thing you do is pull that stupid mask off. That's the first thing you do.
Batman clobbers.
With this guy, that's the first thing you do.
Batman clobbers Steamroller, right? And then he becomes just a world-renowned professional wrestler. Like, everybody knows him. Batman, see him tonight on pay-per-view. Look, there's chocolate bats, vitamin bat, popcorn, nut oats with Batman on them.
Popcorn nut oats.
He's on Newsweek. He's on TV.
That
He's
is
on
nut
Arsenio.
with 2 T's, by the way.
And I'm pretty sure that's the start of his Z, so I'm pretty sure it's nuts.
Hey, kids, eat my nuts. Yeah, that's it. Why is the place on a cliff? What terrible planning.
So he's become a millionaire from being a wrestler, right? And so he uses his...
Oh, my God.
So he uses all that money
See him tonight on pay TV.
Yeah, you can't say pay-per-view. It was trademark.
Well, what's his face? So let's get ready to rumble. Got that one, yeah.
But so he bought a mansion up on a cliff, and he's like, all right, now I got the money part taken care of.
Popcorn bats.
And he's like, all right, now it's time to go after hands. And it's a nice thing of him perched. Did you want to know where Stan Lee would have Batman take place?
Oh, he definitely had it in Hollywood.
Not in Gotham, no, in Hollywood. So,
Not even in L.A., in Hollywood specifically, a place that doesn't really exist.
So Batman is perched that, hanging over the ledge, getting ready to go battle hands. And he's sitting there and he's watching all these screens and he's trying to figure out his next move. And he realizes there's a news story about Dr. Grant, the old guy who he had met in prison. And he decides he's going to pay him a visit.
Honestly, that is the one thing I can do to complement this story. There's like 4 characters that really matter. That's it.
Yeah, that is true.
At least he didn't get all grandiose with like 16 characters or whatever.
That's true. And so Batman shows up at the Grant's house, and he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, "Of course, Batman, the wrestler." Because I'm pretty sure if anybody breaks in and they're like, "Do you know who I am?" It's like, of course, Batman, the wrestler.
You're the only man I know who's dressed like an actual bat.
Oddly enough, it might track with some of those older guys from the 90s with all the stories you hear of like how drugged up they were of one of them like being in your living room. So like maybe this guy's like, yeah. And he's like, Batman goes, "What are you doing in a dump like this?" And
what are you doing
Grant
in a dump
goes,
like this?
"Ex-cons don't usually get high-paying jobs." And then Batman takes off his mask and Wayne shows that it's him and he goes, "Yeah. Well, now one of them will."
No.
"You're Wayne Williams, but how?" Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he tells him, like, he takes him back to his house, and he's like, "Here's what's going to happen."
And Wayne, where do you put your junk?
And he's like, "In my bat pouch."
In my bat pouch.
And he essentially tells him, like, "I want you to come back, and I want you to make, like, all these gadgets for me. Like, you're an inventor. You told me to study a bat, so make me bat-themed gadgets."
Here's my biggest problem with this specific part of the story.
Yes.
This poor guy has been in this hellhole for a while.
Yeah.
This guy has gotten super rich.
Yes.
Why didn't he go before?
Well, he's about to tell him. He's going to tell him that he's going to put the house in his name, too.
Oh.
That he lives there.
To make up for it.
And he's going to pretend and just pose as his bodyguard.
I'm sorry, but this looks like a young Steve Harvey is Batman, is what this looks like. And Steve Harvey
as Batman.
Robin, get your fumbling ass over here.
I don't know if that's a Steve Harvey. Would you watch a Steve Harvey Batman movie?
1,000% I would watch a Steve Harvey Batman. Yes.
I kind of want, and you know, it's going to happen with AI. I kind of want like just movies that are just so miscast.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know why that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, that'd be great. Stephen Hawking is Superman.
Yeah.
Like that. Have you ever seen that Stephen Hawking interview he did with what's the Last Week Tonight? What's his name? The guy on HBO that does Last Week Tonight.
Oh, John
Oliver. You ever seen that interview he did with John Oliver?
I think so, maybe.
Where he says, John Oliver says, "Okay, you believe in parallel universes. Is there a universe anywhere ever that what do you say? Is there a universe anywhere ever that I was smarter than you?" And without a beat, this computerized man says something like, "No, because you're not funny," or something. I mean, it's something on a real dig at him, but like, no, wait, no, wait a minute, let me punch this in with my tongue or anything like that. It's a very good interview. It's very funny. Stephen Hawking was a funny guy.
He was, very much so. Anyway, but Wayne tells him, "We're going to make it to where this appears to be your house, and I'll appear to be your bodyguard. Nobody will know who I am. Like, that's our cover story now. And you're going to design bat stuff for me." Because he tells him, like, "Bats see best in the dark. I can add built-in night vision lenses to your mask.
Can't wait till he gets that tone.
Like, bats hear through sort of radar. Like, you know, I can make an electronic sensor to magnify sound. Mm-hmm. If a bat can fly, why not you? Like, your cape could be configured like bat wings,"
I've
is
said
what
that
he tells him
my
to
entire
glide.
life. If a bat can fly, why not I?
And then he goes, "Here's what I love." The last one, he goes, "Bats aren't bulletproof, but there's no reason why you couldn't be."
Sure.
So he goes, "I'll
why
add
not?
Kevlar material." And like,
Bats can't ride a bicycle, but you can.
This is where he goes, "Perfect. Spend as much money as you need, but do it fast." And this is where he goes, "One other thing, Doc. I want to keep a low profile. From now on, we pretend you own this house, and I'm just your bodyguard."
Pretend. Okay. There's going to be no record of this anywhere. He's just going to pretend. Yeah.
Do you think then when he's like, "I'm going home," really? You own this house? Yes.
I can't wait till Lois Lane looks into it. You know, she's like, "I mean, where do you go first?" "The Hall of Records." "Oh, it's not his."
So
Done. Over.
Yeah, Batman shows up, and she's like, "Nice to see you, Wayne Williams. How did you know?
How did you know?
The house is in your name." "We pretended that it was in the doctor's
We pretended really hard."
Anyway,
Survey says.
Pretend. So now it's time for him, the big showdown, right? This whole comic has set us up to this big showdown, right, Mike?
Sure.
For him to battle Hands.
The guy at the very bottom of the top panel looks like he has a basketball for a head.
He does a little bit.
It's like a basketball with sunglasses on.
Yeah. So Hands is there talking to Nina, and Nina wants to leave. She's like, I've kind of had it with this.
Hands looks a lot like Elvis at this point.
He does. Hands has just turned into Elvis the more money he's gotten and the more powerful he's gotten. He goes, you've got 1 hour to make up your mind. It's either me or a lead kimono is what he tells her.
A lead kimono.
And he goes, because if I can't have you, no one will. And she goes, you claim to love me, yet you threaten me. And he goes, yeah, you got that right. Like, that's all he says. Like, he's not a, Hands is an asshole.
This is the story that America
needed as Batman.
It just, the issue here is there's really nobody in this I like.
That's the thing.
That's
the problem with this.
Yeah.
So, Wayne dives out. He sneaks up on. I'm not getting all. He's able to sneak up and make the jump on.
Yeah. Made him cushy feet. Really soft, cushy feet.
No, he does talk about like, I got to figure out how to land softer, or else they're going to hear me. And they do notice that he's up there, but it's too late. Like he's able to swoop down and sneak up on him.
Who are you?
He gets into a fight with Hands, and he wallops Hands really good. Then Hands' men start to shoot him, and he's thankful for the Kevlar that's put in his bat suit. But while he's like throwing a table and fighting the other man, I just like to
thank the scientist who put the Kevlar in my back.
Hands Horgum uses the fact that Batman's back is to him to sneak up on him and sucker punch him and gives him a good just punch to the face.
Hands Horgum,
just a good 1-2, and he's surprised that Batman hasn't dropped because he's like, why are you still standing? He's like, it ain't possible. You can't still be standing.
I ain't punching you with my feet.
But Batman goes, if not for my mask's padding, I'd be history. So he had mask padding to protect him. And he goes, no, come on. Check me out yourself is what Batman says. And Hands tells him, I'll kill you, and starts rushing for him. And Batman says, essentially he goes, a guy learns a lot in the ring. Sometimes you learn or you do better laying down. And essentially he just uses some momentum, and he takes his feet, and he just flips him over him off the balcony. And that's how Hands dies.
So he kills him.
Yeah, he just kills him.
Straight up kills him.
Here's the thing, too, though. All that, we're getting ready for Hands just for him to be flipped off like that. To his death. Nina shows up, and
with
she's like...
With a wrestling move, I might add.
With a wrestling Well, he's a wrestler.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that the whole build-up, and it's really just a wrestling move.
Yep. And Nina comes up and she goes, I prayed for somebody to free me from Hands, but not this, not murder. And he's like, Nita. I called her Nina earlier, but it's Nita.
Have we always been able to see under his nose?
Yes.
Okay.
We have always been able to see that from here down.
All right.
And she goes, whoever you really are, your mask doesn't give you the right to kill. And he goes, Nita, you don't understand. She goes, how do you know my name? And he goes, I can't tell you. And
You're wearing a name tag.
I can't tell you. And then we have a thought bubble. Then I'm going to read like Batman. She's not. Hold on. I'm just doing it. It always gets me. She's got no job, no place to go. I'll have Grant contact her. He needs a secretary. No matter what she thinks of me, I want her in my life. I can't even finish.
Is it hard? And I say this with all love to you, but I like the guy less now after you did that. I like him even less.
So that's all he says at the end is like, Nina wants nothing to do because she's just like, you murder her. And he's like, you're right, I did murder, but I'll have the doctor contact her. He needs a secretary. I'm going to be sexist and make her be a secretary. And also, no matter what she thinks of me, I want her around. Like,
let's go back to that church. At least maybe something's shaking there.
All right, so at the church, later that night, a special service is held at the Church of Eternal Empowerment. I have summoned you all for a purpose, my faithful ones. Our master plan is about to reach fruition. Be warned, another player has unwittingly entered the game. He is known as the Batman. But his power is
this guy whispers.
He does. But his power is as nothing.
Listen to me, Will. We can't hear you.
What?
Oh, listen. I got something super secret to say. Sorry, we still can't hear you from back here.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. As easily as
That's right. That's exactly how it went. Yeah.
But he's just
Church of Eternal Whispering.
He tells him though, like, as easily as I've like made this image appear, I've destroyed it just as easily as we shall destroy the Batman. Now let the games begin. As Batman and the bats fly over the church there.
So now he's just flying around with bats.
And then on the street, we see a newspaper.
We have no explanation as to how he can fly, right? It's just the scientists made him fly.
Yeah, well, it's the cape. Yeah, he can glide with the cape.
Whatever.
And then we see a newspaper on the street from the Los Angeles News. It's like Batman strikes, and it just goes through the cops. It's just going through the city, showing everybody looking through all this. And then it ends with, this kid catches it and turns it into a mask as he's hanging upside down. Boom. That was another side story at the end of it. Our main story ended with that. But we got a little side story there.
That was it?
So there
at the end?
Go. That's Stan Lee's Batman. No, it just ends with after he.
That's what I'm saying. It ends with him putting a newspaper over his face.
Well, that was the secondary story. Our main story ended right there. Now let the games begin. Boom. Story ends. This was the secondary story.
In the street.
The next issue number 2 was Wonder Woman.
Is that Aquaman?
No, that's Wonder Woman. You want me to see?
No, I mean the other one. Go back.
No, those are both Wonder Woman.
Those are both Wonder Woman. Oh yeah, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah, here. So there you go.
No, don't show it. Don't show it. I want to be surprised by this Aquaman thing.
Okay.
I really do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, for my birthday, you're going to cover Stan Lee's.
Have you already read it?
No, I haven't read it at all.
Okay, good.
I just saw there was an Aquaman. At first, I was going to make you do Green Lantern because I heard it was nature based. Like that's the thing. It's not like it's not outer spirit. It's very much like Swamp Thing. Like he has nature powers.
Right.
But then I was like, but there's an Aquaman. Mike hates Aquaman even more.
I do hate Aquaman as well. So but Aquaman does have a special place in my heart. Just the Super Friends Aquaman though.
Did I tell you I watched a lot of those PSAs here lately? There are some good ones, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there are some good ones.
Hey, what did we watch earlier today?
We watched the Superman trailer.
We watched the Superman trailer. 3 minutes, I might add.
Oh, and it was so good.
Which it was so very good. And this is the most extension of this movie we have ever seen. Like it is, it gives you the whys and the what fors for a lot of things.
I enjoyed it so much. And also we got I feel like we get to see the movie without giving away too much too. Like,
this is what I love about James Gunn though. He's very good with fan service. And when it comes down to it, that's really all this is about is fan service, right? And the fact that he made us wonder for a while as to why these things could be happening. And now in this final trailer, I'm guessing it's a final trailer, he's telling us, you were kind of right about these things, but look at this thing too.
Yep.
And that's I love that. Love that.
It's great. No.
Build suspense, man. Build suspense.
I'm here for it. I love it. It has me so much more excited. If you haven't, go check it out.
We watched that. A couple days ago, we watched the Peacemaker Season 2 trailer.
That's just fantastic.
We have seen a lot more Fantastic Four now.
We have.
Thunderbolts was great. And it's doing well at the box office, which I love.
I need to see that now. Everybody's told me how good it is, so I need to see it. And we need to cover Century at some point in time then, too.
Thank God comic book movies are popular.
They're bouncing.
They never have been before. No, I like the direction that both franchises or both labels are going.
Oh,
absolutely. DC and Marvel. I think they're both doing the right thing here.
I'm here for it. I'm here for us to actually have good content again.
Don't fuck it up, Marvel.
Come on, we're looking at you.
Marvel's the one that could. They really could. They could at this point, but I don't think you're going to because they have bought into the fan service thing now with bringing all the people back.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to use one movie to eliminate 99% of them.
Then won't you have angry fans again?
Maybe, but you'll have a chance for them to pass the gauntlet within the movie.
That's true.
So that goes a long ways with me.
That's true, too. All right, there you go. That has it. Just imagine Stan Lee's Batman.
You ever looked at Anthony Mackie's head? Have I ever said this to you before? His head looks too small. He looks like the normal skull, tiny chin. Like, it just looks like...
Never thought that.
His head's about this big.
I've never thought that.
Like, it's as big as a kumquat. I don't know.
I don't know what a kumquat looks like.
I don't know how to... I'm not sure why I measure things.
That does it for us. As always, thank you guys for taking the time out to listen.
Kumquats high.
To watch, to listen, to comment, all of it. Thank you guys so much for all of it. We appreciate it. Also, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Okay. Yep, you said it all. I don't know. I had to sit there and think about it. Yeah. Well,
I said your damn words.
Okay. I'm sorry. Well.
No, that's a Army of Darkness quote.
Oh, you did.
He goes and tries to get in the book, and then
he did.
I said your damn words.
You did. My bad. Well, until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Hey, golly con, and stop screwing with
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.